Oh, God.
Correspondent is in Milwaukee because that was
any two political figures in our history have clashed, calling him Donald and saying he tried to get a hold of Donald and he hopes to speak to him and saying that we all have to condemn what happens. And that is what is happening. We are seeing statements from political leaders across the political spectrum, not just condemning what is an apparent or being investigated as an apparent political assassination attempt, but calling for calm and saying that political violence of any kind, certainly not like this, has no place in American politics. One of those briefed on this and putting out a statement is the Speaker of the House, third in line of presidential succession, Mike Johnson, who says he's been briefed by law enforcement and says this horrific act of political violence at a political campaign rally has no place.
It was live. Yeah, the comment section in there is what's making me go, uh-oh.
And I think quite movingly from a former congresswoman named Gabby Giffords, who herself was severely wounded in political violence at a campaign event of hers in Arizona. Gabby Giffords putting out a statement saying, political violence is terrifying. I know. I'm holding former President Trump and all those affected by today's indefensible act of violence in my heart. Political violence is un-American and never acceptable, never a view that is being uniform.
Not the first thing on Twitter being, oh, well, originally it just moved, but it was originally staged was the first one. Donald Trump took a bullet for his country. If you're voting for anyone else, you can go fuck yourself. That's where I'm at. Blair! Oh, I didn't even read who this was first. Okay, Blair. Okay, Blair. All right, girl. Y'all act like he jumped in front of it on purpose. Come on now. Not the CIA trending. Trying to jail and then kill Trump and just giving him the two hardest pictures of all time. He may win all 50 states. He loved this. Oh, here come Elon. Y'all, it's the end of days. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And I'm not drinking or smoking weed because I'm prepping for this show. So looks like we're just going to be over here looking at each other. Sad. He let people die during COVID. That part. Somebody said Olivia Pope. You know what? Honestly, every day I think more and more the scandal was real. Every day I'm like, actually, does Shonda know something that we don't? Does she? She knows something that we don't. Because scandal is becoming more and more accurate. Not which scandal, the TV show Scandal, y'all. Can we be serious for once? No, we can't. Because if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. God bless this man. Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald Trump. Here we go. Why'd y'all call it a Biden supporter? We don't know that. That person could have been a vigilante and hated Biden too. He could have been, all right, we got one plan to not. This could have been a plan where both people were like, let's knock out Trump and Biden. Come on now. He's a badass. He's the hardest pig. No words. Donald J. Trump, this election is now over. Oh, girl. Oh, girl. They're just emboldening these people. Here we go. And I know this is online, so I know maybe, we need to like go outside to see what other people think, but y'all, I don't know. Who is this shooter? Y'all are so fucking unserious. Leave Klay Thompson out of this. What? Y'all, I actually can't. Footage of Trump shooter being dragged out of the rally by police. Who is that man? Me try. Who is that man? He's wearing a blue shirt. They've covered his face. I can't see shit, y'all. Okay, y'all are just putting a bunch of athletes in here that, okay, anyway. This is, we've circled back to who are you? Oh no. I'm tired. And I don't know, y'all. The news, we found out, we watched earlier, the reporter, the shooter was killed, and apparently another bystander in the crowd was killed as well. ABC live right now.
Actually lost their life as a result of this. And, I mean, unfortunately, it appears to be just almost, I don't want to say a microcosm, but the state of our country, where we are right now and how divided we are. And somebody would resort to something like this to, well, I don't know the motives, but potentially affect a presidential election. And it's really sad. Yeah, I mean,
maybe I shouldn't say this,
I agree with,
but I wish it was Biden instead. Not that it happened to him, but that he got all this press, so that maybe,
and I hope
it would embolden, the blue people.
Something
I don't
bad like
know.
this happening, good can come of it after the fact.
Yes, let's all hope that that could be the case, and perhaps this country could have a moment of unity in what has been a very divisive time, and only getting painful by the minute here as we get more details about what happened. I do want to ask you about the bystanders. Do we know any information about them, where they were seated during this event?
I don't have that information at this point. I'm going to guess that they were probably seated behind President Trump, based on the whole thing. But I don't know. I shouldn't even speculate.
Understood. Again, Richard Goldinger, we truly appreciate you taking the time this evening, and we're wishing the very best. Our hearts go out to you and your entire community as you try to build back from this tragedy. Thank you again. I want to go to, let's go back to Martha Raddatz in Washington. Martha, I know that
Katy
you've been
Perry must be
talking
real
to
happy,
not only
though,
law
'cause now
enforcement
nobody
sources,
cares about
political
this.
sources, but also folks in the military who were describing what they heard with those gunshots. We got some more information from the district attorney there. The suspect who was shot and killed, and we're not sure how. We're careful to, to point that out, was on a rooftop adjacent to the venue. What does that tell you, and what's the reaction you're getting from your sources?
It was a
Well, it
sniper?
certainly was a ways away from President Trump. And that in the beginning, when I started talking to people who were familiar with weapons and who heard that gunfire on the tape, said they were certain it was probably a ways away from the actual venue outside the security zone. And it sounds like that has proven to be true. There were several shots you could hear, and they were very distinct, at least 2 or 3, possibly more shots. And we don't know yet whether we were hearing not just the shooter, but those who then took out the shooter. But when I look at this video, and we've all looked at it over and over, and you see President Trump get up and put that fist in the air. We've now heard from his family. We now have heard that former President Trump is okay. But this is an incredibly sobering moment for former President Trump, for his family, and for the country.
No, it's not. They're going to use this to galvanize their base. It's right before the Republican National Convention. They're going to use this to galvanize their people. And the Democrats are going to be all like, this is terrible. This shouldn't happen. We need to all come together. This is blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, Trump and his people are going to be like, yep, yeah, USA, girl. It won't be an anti-gun thing because they're going to use the fact that a sniper then went and actually killed the person who tried to kill Trump with guns. So they're going to be like, no, they're already calling the man who was doing his job, AKA killing a person who tried to kill a presidential nominee. He's literally doing his job. That's his job, to protect whoever that is. That's why he has a gun standing there. They're calling him a hero. So that's not, no. Exactly. Good guys with guns, Alice. Exactly that. So it's not going to be some, oh, this is bad. Guns are bad. And now we need to. That's not a conversation the RNC is going to have. They're going to have at the RNC. That's not a conversation. Y'all. Every day it feels more and more like an episode of Scandal. I know people are saying this is staged. I don't know whether or not it's staged. Obviously, all we know is that the person that tried to kill Trump is dead and a bystander is dead. And his base is like, fuck yeah, he's a badass. The picture of him with his fist in the air, it's going to go down in history. Everybody is, I never watched The West Wing. Maybe I should. Actually, no, because it'll be too similar to now and I'll be sad. Everybody is, this is how badly they want Trump out of office. They're trying to kill him because they know that he would win. This is how they're going to talk. This is how they are talking. And this is also why low-key, because I was going to do man on the street interviews at the RNC, because I work with an organization that kind of connects content creators and influencers to more political organizations, especially this being a political year. And I've wanted to do street interviews and just talk to people and not do it in a we're making fun of people at the RNC. My idea was going to be let's actually figure out what the heck these people are saying. I know people are always saying, what do these people want? Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, after talking to a few people about it, I was kind of like, I don't know if this will work. Also, my rehearsal schedule was I don't really know if this will work. And now with this, girl, it's look at God. I don't believe in God, but look at God. Amen. Amen. Because listen, oh yes, I was about to text my dad too and just be like, good thing, good. Listen, anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't think I wasn't going to make it comedy, and now it wouldn't have been able to be comedy because people will be, it's literally the convention is the 15th to the 17th, I believe. So it just, yeah, yeah. Anyway, maybe I can go to the Democratic National Convention and do some interviews there. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Oh my God.
There is always a possibility.
But did you say that you were able to see the building that the shooter was allegedly perched on top of here? You said it was taped off by law enforcement. What did it look like?
It was like a kind of like an airplane hangar, maybe, like a warehouse for agricultural equipment, I guess. ARC, AGC, something like that on the side. But once we were out, maybe 30, 40 minutes after, they were taping it off, investigating it. They had the dogs going and all that stuff. But there was traffic jams everywhere. It was kind of hard to.
How far away was that area from where the former president was standing?
Maybe 300, 400 yards, maybe less, honestly.
And Stephen, when you hear that people who were there in the crowd with you, other bystanders, at least one, maybe more, were killed, how does that make you feel?
Honestly, still kind of numb to it. It's hard to process all this. Your heart rate is through the roof. But best wishes for their family, and they were supporting the country that they love. And in the meantime, it's definitely sad, and it's heartbreaking, honestly.
And Stephen, we've been hearing from people on both sides of the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, independent candidate, RFK Jr., and all with the same sentiment, condemning political violence, saying there's no place in this country for something like this. And I just wonder, from your perspective too, you're out there, you're exercising your right to support a candidate. What message do you have for people out there? Because the country is at this political boiling point. There's so much division and anger and hatred right now from one side and the other. What would you like to tell people?
At the end of the day, whether you're on the left, the right, the center, or you don't believe in politics at all, we all still put our pants on in the morning. We all breathe the air and go to work, and a lot of these issues, in 10 years, no one even thinks about them or cares about them. So we're all people at the end of the day, and it's not worth taking someone's life over political beliefs or whatever. It's just senseless.
Some of y'all seem to think it's worth taking other people's lives.
People would agree with those words. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing that video, and we're so glad and thankful that you and the people you were there with are doing okay. Thanks again.
Of course, and as Kelly Clarkson says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
What?
Well, let's hope that's what happens in this country from here forward.
Kelly, see, that's why I couldn't be a reporter.
Moment of healing as we work closer and closer to Election Day. Stephen, thank you again. Let's go back to Rachel Scott. I believe she's still there in Pennsylvania. She was at this event, and Rachel, you've been speaking.
Shout out Kelly, I guess.
Who are you with right now?
This is crazy. Come here, baby.
Yeah, I'm with a woman named Erin. You were in the very first row in the middle seat, you told me. What did you see? What did you witness?
I was in the first row, and I was in the middle. I was directly in front of President Trump. So I saw him come on the stage, and it was maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. Everybody, all the photographers saw him come in. They all cleared away. He started speaking, and then we heard pound, pound, pop, pop, pop. In everybody's mind, it was like 4th of July. Somebody must have been still doing firecrackers. Then I saw the 4 Secret Service jump up and immediately push him to the ground. Then the news people that were around him They all fell to the ground. There was 4 of them down there, and then we all stood up. None of us moved. We wanted to protect President Trump.
Girl, what were y'all gonna do?
Then I saw the gentlemen who wear the guns in the black. They came on and they said, okay, clear right, clear left. On 3, we're going to lift them. So they lifted President Trump up, and he said, I got to get my shoes. His shoes must have fallen off when they pushed him down. I saw the red blood on his right cheek. Then when he turned, I saw the ear from the top to the bottom with red.
Aaron, I'm just going to have the camera turn really quickly because we are seeing a helicopter landing. For everyone that is watching at home, this is obviously still an active crime scene where we are all standing right now. We are just yards away from where this rally was taking place. We're seeing a helicopter touchdown. We've obviously seen more and more police presence in the last hour following these events that occurred. And there are still supporters that are still trying to leave this area. You are one of them. There were hundreds of people here. And so the parking lots were very full. There was a line to get out. And so there's a little bit of a traffic jam also as well. So you described those moments. You heard the pop, pop, pop. Everyone went down for cover. How are you feeling? How are you processing this?
Well,
We're
everybody in
just giving
first
the
row,
rights so
nobody went
much,
down to the
so
ground.
much
They all
right
stood
now.
up. They wanted to protect the president. All we were concerned about was him. And then kind of the Secret Service, when he got up and got into the vehicle, they told us to sit and stay seated because there was things going on. And from what I hear, there was possibly 2 shooters. There's a gentleman here that has a picture of one of the shooters that was rolled off of a building. And he was shot by the sharpshooters that were behind Trump. And I saw a gentleman leave from the left
Say hi to
stands,
Lydia.
and he had red blood all down his shirt. He wasn't hit, but I think he was around somebody who was. So just picking up little bits of things. We're all in shock.
It is
because we
a
never
woman's
expected
world,
this.
y'all.
I mean, it's a beautiful rally, a beautiful night. I don't know. If no one's ever been to a Trump rally, it's very congenial. People look out for each other. It just seems like there's
Congenial.
you don't see any fights and you don't see any animosity and you don't see too much. They're all pretty much
long as
focused
you
on the
don't
president. And then
look
with
a
this to
certain way.
happen, it's just stressful. It's just sad. Very sad.
This is an open fairground where we are standing here. It was a very hot day. People were coming in with their water bottles. As you said, there was this sense of sort of joy, excitement to see the former president. All of this unfolded within minutes of him taking the stage.
I don't think it was 3 to 4 minutes, I would say. He hardly got a chance to do his, waving at everybody and welcome and maybe a couple words on the
Girl, I'll see you at the
teleprompter.
crossroads.
But some people tell me that they think one of the shots hit the teleprompter and that could have made him with the cheek.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of unconfirmed reports still out there. We're also
But he-
sorting through
He
this.
did leave the stage
Yeah.
on his own. He walked down the steps. I saw that. And then he put his right hand up and fist up and said, stay strong, everyone. And he kind of turned like he was exiting. He was making sure that all those people like us that were standing up knew that he was okay.
Well, we so appreciate you taking the time. And I know you were waiting to clear out from this area as well.
Everybody's just praying for our president. That's how everybody is here. So thank you.
We're so happy that you are safe. Please get home safe. Again, that is just one of the many witnesses that we've been talking to here that are leaving these fairgrounds now after this incident.
See what's
occurred.
wild about
As you
this
can tell,
is
still a
that
little
if
shaken
this
up
was
there, still
on
processing.
the left and this happened, there would definitely be some Republicans that would for sure be like, yo, this is wild. This shouldn't be happening to Biden, blah, 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 blah. But a lot more of them, like Fox News types, would probably be like, yeah, this is wild. And also that they would be saying that it's staged. Your president, ma'am, who is ours? Our president, girl, that's your president. They probably are collecting footage from everybody. That's also why it's probably taking everyone so long. I'm not saying that I know this to be true. I'm literally just speculating. Do not report this or anything as fact. I'm just saying they are potentially trying to gather everyone's footage. That's probably why it's taking so long for everyone to be able to leave. And also traffic jam. But anyway, this is not November about to be so embarrassing. You guys, do you want to? I'll maybe live stream. I don't know what's going to happen in November, but maybe I'll live stream during the election since I know most of us are probably not going to be watching. Like, we'll be watching to keep up, but I know that usually people want to keep up with the updates online and not necessarily through cable. I know a lot of us don't have cable, so let me know if you want me to live stream the election or the election night. Group trauma bonding live. Yeah, we will definitely need more mods. Sharon, you are right. I'll let y'all know before I do that. We'll plan it out. Cause I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm not feeling too optimistic about the things. And if he wins, I'm scared for what's going to happen in Canada as well. It just seems like more and more globally. I mean, I know apparently in France, the left won the majority. Can somebody please correct me? But it's just more and more. It's like Trump emboldens other people. Yeah. I'm not a journalist, by the way. Like, please do not. What we'll do is I'll go live and we'll have people whose usernames I recognize that have been around consistently. We'll put y'all as moderators as well, along with Sharon and stuff, and just see what the hell is going to happen. Just the highest amounts of seats, not the majority, just the highest amount of seats in France. Okay, got you. But yeah, also the 2025 thing, I used to, as a kid, be scared of the year 2025. And I remember it was because when I was really young, I came across a white supremacist or alt-right website that was talking about the future. And they were like, the year's 2025 and being white has become a minority. Like, I still can like picture this website. But that was like the opening line on the thing. And they were talking about these ideas and plans that they had. Hold on. Let me see if I could. I don't know. I doubt I could find it. It was such a long time ago. And now everybody's talking about Project 2025. So I feel like it would probably be lost in all of this. But anyway, when I was really young, came across this alt website, this white supremacist website. I don't know what I was looking into or researching. I used to just like spend hours online looking up random shit. But yeah, they were talking about that. And I remember I was always like, is the year 2025 going to be race war year? Like, that was just always in the back of my mind. And I remember a friend had written me a card being like, the year 2025 is when you'll have your first baby. Don't be worried about that year. It wasn't a video. It was a website. Hold on. Let's do some digging. Talk amongst yourselves. Wait a minute. Oh, maybe I did find it. Because it says live journal, which makes sense because I used to be on that. Hold on. I'm going to share this. We'll see. But it doesn't look like the website that I had originally found. But let's hold on one second. Oh, maybe it is true. Y'all, I might have found it. That's horrifying. One second. No. Ah! Okay, I think we found some things, y'all. Here we fucking go. Okay. Here we are. Okay. So this wasn't the exact website because I think the actual website was the where was it? It just disappeared. The American Nazi Party. I think that's where I had originally seen it. But as you can see, this is from 2005. Not this one. Sorry. This one. You see? February 26, 2005. Y'all see this? Okay. This is the thing that I came upon when I was a kid, and I remember being like, ah, like horrified by it. But basically they were like, yes. So they were like, the year is 2025, white people have become a minority in America. I can't believe I still remember. On our streets hang Aryan men who refuse to accept the quote new way, or perhaps they just looked too white. Perhaps they never thought mud rule would really come. White girls who refuse the advantages of Negroids. Jesus. Okay. I don't know what I was doing on the, what? Khadija, what were you researching that? Anyway, are publicly gang raped so as to serve as examples to other shuddering Aryan families. Children are now taken away from their houses by force to be brought up in the multicultural home of Negroids, Arabs, Muslims, and I feel like any of the stuff that I'm saying is slurs, in the name of, quote, brotherhood and love. And yet some fight back, alone or in small cells, Aryan, men's and boys. But most of all, women who stand the most to lose since the decline of real men among the white folks strike back at night and with any weapon near at hand. How often do the hunted whites think back to the old days when action and dedicated work might have reached, educated, and organized enough of our folk to have averted what now seems like hopeless hell? All of the old excuses for not working for the movement, my job, my money, my friends, my fun, my beer, all gone. All the boasting, but never really sacrificing for what they knew was coming. Now it's too late, too late, too late. Are you a talker, or are you making, or do you make a difference now? Yeah. So that was a thing, and it's super stupid, right? Like, people say it's dumb, whatever, but there are people out there that really believe this. There are people that really believe in this. Like, they really believe in this. And so, yeah, I remember 2005, I was like 13. Yes. I remember reading this on I think it was the American Nazi Party site. Yes. Can y'all see this? Yes, it was this website, because I remember looking at this image and being like, the fuck is this? Okay. So Project 2025, let's look into that, because I'm not saying this is an exact one-to-one, but I have problems. I like research. Okay. I've always been someone that really liked to learn, and I grew up online-ish. So I was just always fascinated in this sort of thing, especially the way people could hate people so much just because they were different from them. Like it was always something that I was like, why though? But I truly don't remember why I stumbled on this. Like I don't remember why. But it's like, even if you look up the Joshua generation of students, and I'm not, again, making one-to-one comparisons of all of these things, but I'm saying, you know, people on the right and conservatives specifically really plan a lot. And really, 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 like the planning part, they're organized. And this is what I've always maintained, is that people on the right, conservatives, are very organized. They educate their children to be in positions of public policy so that they can also be enacting changes and laws. Like this has been planned. They didn't just wake up one day and all of a sudden everybody was right wing and what's up. Trump opened the door for a lot of this, but y'all, the plans have been put in motion for a while. And patience is a thing that has been on their side. Oh yeah, I never know how to use the Wayback Machine, y'all. But yeah, let's look at Project 2025. So it says, it is not enough for conservatives to win elections. If we are going to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, we need both a governing agenda and the right people in place, ready to carry this agenda out on day one of the next conservative administration. This is the goal of the 2025 Presidential Transition Project. The project will build on 4 pillars that will collectively pave the way for an effective conservative administration. So this is from their website. This is public information, right? And here you go. Here you go. The actions of liberal politicians in Washington have created a desperate need for a unique opportunity for conservatives to start undoing the damage the left has wrought and build a better country for all Americans in 2025. Now, I want to add real quick that this is something you'll often find where you'll hear of a book or mostly books or somebody will be a conservative talking head, and then people will look into them and find out that they were part of the Nazi Party, the American Nazi Party, were straight up Nazis, racist, all of this, right? They'll look into the history and find that out. And it's just that they've gotten smarter about the way that they're saying these things. They've just gotten smarter about the way that they're talking about things. Now it's not the year is 2025 and you're white, so you're a minority. It's Project 2025 and wokeness has become a problem. And the left did this themselves because they're too radical. Do y'all see what I'm trying to say? Again, I'm not doing an exact one-to-one comparison of, you know, reading this killer's journal from 2005 and being like, now, wait a minute. But why is 2025? You know what I mean? Why is this year, even all the way back in 2005? Why is this year the year for that? What, and if they had planned for that, what plans were being laid in place, and how did they, Southern strategy type shit? Yes and no, because Southern strategy was at least about, well, yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. You're right, actually. Getting white folks in the South to vote against their own economic interests and be like, actually, don't give a fuck about any of that. These black people are trying to invade your spaces. They want integration. They want all this stuff. And we need to get white voters, conservative white voters together. Anyway, the goal of Project 2025, the project will build on 4 pillars that will collectively pave the way for an elective conservative administration: policy agenda, personnel, training, and a 180-day playbook. The project is an effort of broad coalition of conservative organizations that have come together to ensure successful administration begins January 2025 with the right conservative policy recommendations and properly vetted and trained personnel to implement them. So again, I'm not directly making a one-to-one of the Joshua generation, but you're training a whole generation of young people. And let's look into this a bit more so that I'm not talking nonsense, because this is all stuff that I like research for fun, and like podcasts that I listen to and stuff for fun to like learn about these things in the background. So it's never been stuff that I've like taken notes on and been like, oh, anyway. So it might be a different thing. So I don't want to paint everything with the same brush just because one's Christian conservative and all that jazz. So the Joshua generation is, can y'all see? Okay, perfect. This is just Wikipedia. Is an American Christian fundamentalist youth organization founded in 2003 that aims to encourage youth participation in government, civics, and politics towards conservative Christian values. Okay, so I'm not talking complete bullshit. Okay, good to know. You know, I love being right. Okay. But yeah. So going back to this, the 4 pillars: policy agenda, personnel, training, and 180-day playbook. The right conservative policy recommendations and properly vetted, trained personnel implemented them. Properly vetted and trained personnel to implement them. So this is not just about Trump. This is not just a president. We need to, at every level of this government, of this conservative government that we're putting in, the amount of federal judges Trump appointed during his presidency, and Supreme Court judges that he was allowed to appoint. All of this isn't just something that came from out of nowhere. But they're trying, sorry, I was looking at the chat and got distracted. But yeah, at every level, they're doing what they can to put the people that they have vetted, the personnel that they have vetted, the young people that they have, the young Christian fundamentalists that they have emboldened and educated and taught this system. Because we can talk all the problems with democracy and its pitfalls and all of these things, but these people are believing it and they're finding a way to make it work, and they are funded. And this is why I find it so interesting. Like I said, I work with an organization that connects content creators to other, not just nonprofits, but political organizations. And I'm like, where were y'all 3 years ago? Like, I don't need to have all these other sponsorships because these people have money. So where were you left-leaning organizations with all of your money that you now have, that you can fly all of these influencers and content creators out to, I went to a conference, Trending Up, to get them to speak more politically, get Cory Booker and all these other Democrats and left-leaning-ish politicians there. Where were y'all a few years ago? It might be too late. Y'all were too late trying to realize that you could use content creators, influencers, use a whole generation of young people, or maybe it was us taking our rights for granted. Because people, I will in a second. Thank you for that. I'm going to keep this up so I don't forget. People, I completely lost my train of thought, y'all. I get distracted very easily. Where were y'all a few years ago with this money? Maybe we were out here taking our rights for granted, because people that were working on the ground, when they're talking about reproductive rights, the people and organizers that were working on the ground with that weren't shocked about what happened with Roe v. Wade. It's not to say that they were like, yeah, this is fine, but they knew what was happening. But so many of us didn't know and found out when the rest of the world did. We take our rights for granted. We really do. We truly, truly do. and we don't think that they can be harmed. But when Roe v. Wade was passed in 73, originally it was just kind of like, okay, you know, eventually the right started to be like, actually, this is the thing that we can come together behind. And there's always one agenda, right? That come together. Roe v. Wade, reproductive rights, trans people, even talking to people that are center left, they adopt a lot of these ideas. I've spoken to these people face to face. And the minute you talk to them about gender, they think that you're trying to spread some gender ideology, that transness isn't real. And these are people that claim to be leftists as well. They always need, yes, a scapegoat. They always need a main scapegoat, and then they can put all of their other fundamentalist ideas to use behind that. So it's not just they're coming after trans people. It's your reproductive rights. It's your autonomy, your bodily autonomy. If you think you're separate from trans people because of that, or you think you're separate from women because of that, you're sorely mistaken. I love how we talked about Katy Perry first and then realized that this is not. Oh, God. Okay, this is Wikipedia, and I'm not saying that it's not good. I just want to use some other. National Socialism, government, founding of the Nazi Party in Munich. This is giving you a full. Stop. That's the thing. Was drawn up by Hitler and Drexler to plan out their vision for a perfect Germany. It was based around the ideas of nationalism and socialism and wove the ideas of anti-Semitism into their policies. The unity of all German-speaking people into one greater Germany, the destruction of the Treaty of Versailles, colonies and land to feed Germany's population. No Jew can be German. And yeah, that's what, listen, this is what they were doing. They were like, listen, Germany suffered under the Treaty of Versailles. They blamed us for World War I, but it's not our fault. It was the Jewish people's fault. It was them. And they can never truly be citizens of Germany. They are not us. They are not actual Germans. And we need to have nationalism. We need to have pride in our Germanness. USA. What is an American? Who gets to be an American then? Who gets to be an American and who is not? It's not as simple as black and white anymore. It's not. But if you're left, you're less American and you care less about this country. If you believe in radical leftist policies, you care less about this country and you're less American. Canada has something like this too. It's called Old Stock Canadians, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. God. Yeah, there it is. Old Stock Canadians is a term referring to European Canadians whose families lived in Canada for multiple generations. It refers to either Anglophone or Francophone because people like to act like even though Quebec, was Francophone folks. From the history that people in Quebec have taught me, so I'm not going to act like I know the full history. I've learned some stuff in school, but apparently even a lot of extremist Quebecois groups, because Quebec has always tried to separate from the rest of Canada and all this other stuff. And like for a while, Anglophones, aka the English-speaking people here, were pretty shitty to Francophones, but it then became this thing of now here, like, I went to the hospital in January and there's a hospital, like they're supposed to be able to at least have a translator there. but they passed a law last year where in government offices or in government, in not federal, provincial spaces, they don't have to speak English. And technically in a hospital they should, but if you go to, like, there's a hospital that people know here, Notre Dame Hospital. If you go there, and I had a kidney infection. I was in there. These people don't give a fuck. Nobody spoke English. And if you're going to suffer, then oh well. Because they don't care. Because it's Francophone pride. And there are some people here that will fully understand what you're saying in English and refuse to speak to you in English because it should be French and Quebec should be separated. So I'm trying to tell y'all, as somebody who has lived in the United States, in Georgia, grew up there, and lived in Canada, it's not as different as some of y'all would think. There's always this ideal of an us versus them. These people are not like us, and therefore they are the problem. It's abuse, yes? Canada's PR does go crazy. Yeah, Canada really, truly. Girl, anyway. But yeah, let's see if there's somebody that has made a video on Project 2025 that can be a better explainer for us. Let's see. Have some organizations. Oh, the Wall Street Journal. I don't know who owns the Wall Street Journal. What did I say? And I hadn't even looked into this. You see how they changed the language? Woke. Woke. You can't hear it? It's not muted. This is not muted, but I don't know what. Oh, you know what? It might be that it's because it's not on this. Hold on. It's not on this tab. Let me share this tab.
Radical mentioned dozens of times. You
Right.
hear the
I'll go
term
through this.
woke mentioned dozens of times, radical mentioned dozens of times. It's remarkably driven by culture war politics.
Project 2025 is designed as a government in waiting if Trump or any conservative president returns to office. It's the brainchild of the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank and lobbying group that has helped staff Republican administrations since the Reagan era.
We cover literally every public policy issue in Project 2025, from domestic policy to foreign policy.
Kevin Roberts is the president of the Heritage Foundation and one of the driving forces behind the project.
All Project 2025 is trying to do is to be a corrective to the liberal nonsense that has been so insidious inside the executive branch for the last half century.
The Heritage Foundation says Project 2025 is backed by more than 100 conservative organizations and a $22 million budget.
So I think the size, scale, and sophistication of Project 2025 is unprecedented.
The project has 4 main pillars: a policy plan, a personnel database, an online academy, and a playbook for the president's first 180 days in office.
We can be ready to hit the ground running on day 1 of the next
You
administration.
guys,
The first pillar
representation.
is a policy agenda
You
that
see?
focuses on
not just
dismantling
about
the
black and
so-called
white.
administrative state, or what some conservatives call the deep state.
Either the deep state destroys America or we
Oh, Sharon, you know how I
destroy
feel about that
the deep
motherfucker.
state.
For Project 2025, dismantling the administrative state means purging the civil workforce of tens of thousands of federal employees and replacing them with conservative, pre-vetted picks.
There is a concentration not just of power, but a concentration of radical leftist ideology in these employees. Hopefully, we will see over the next 10 to 20 years the elimination of entire cabinet departments.
The plan would dismantle the Department of Homeland Security, eliminate the Department of Education entirely, and transform the FBI into a political task force that is accountable to the president.
But the leadership of the
You mean, you guys, would transform the FBI into a police state that is accountable to only the president. And what do we call that, you guys? Besides too much power? Aha. Ding, 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 ding. There she is. There she is. Ooh, we could also call it that. We could also call it that. Mm-hmm. Let's watch. Fun fact, I think, is this, yeah. So I worked with a producer on a podcast, a music podcast on the Philly Orchestra called Here Together, and she does research for her.
The president does it. That means that it is not illegal.
It's a thing called Article 2. Nobody ever mentions Article 2.
More importantly, Article 2 allows me to do whatever I want.
Our common theme is to take down the administrative state, the bureaucracy.
Preparing to march into office and bring a new army of aligned, trained, and essentially weaponized conservatives ready to do battle against the deep state.
For the last 18 months, conservatives from every corner of the far-right establishment, from extremist think tanks to former members of the Trump administration to tenured academics, have been working both publicly and privately on a new project. The project's goal: to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, uniting the conservative movement and the American people against elite rule and woke culture warriors. And the stakes are high. According to this group, if we fail, the fight for the very idea of America may be lost. Last month, this group of far-right leaders, known as Project 2025, released a 920-page manifesto titled Mandate for Leadership: The Conservative Promise. In it, the document's 35 different named authors, united and copyrighted by the far-right Heritage Foundation, lay out an explicit, comprehensive
y'all are
plan
exhausted,
to
but you're gonna be
completely
more tired
overhaul
if you
the
don't
U.S.
vote.
government from the inside out, with
Just
the
saying.
ultimate goal of furthering far-right wedge issues and concentrating as much power as possible in the hands of the president. Project 2025 is touted as the ultimate solution to paving the way for the next conservative administration, which they believe will take power in January 2025. While the entire project mimics the same talking points that Trump has harped on throughout his presidency and current campaign, the leaders of this project make clear that the plan is not dependent on a specific person winning the Republican nomination and
Okay.
ultimately the White House. Instead, it's a blueprint for the next conservative executive, whoever they may be.
And this is why I say the president, y'all, just because you're voting for Biden, you're not voting for Biden. You're voting for an administration. You're voting for the ability to, even if we have a lot of conservatives, to block a lot of the nonsense that they're trying to perpetuate. Not just the president in a national election, but also in congressional races. Who are your representatives? Your state representatives? Who are your local ones? These people are organized. They have implemented people in those spaces. This is why it matters, y'all. This is why it matters. And I'm not saying this is like, I voted in every election. No, I have not. But the minute 2020 hit, I was like, all right, it's time for me to stop playing around. I was one of those people that have taken my rights for granted, truly.
To push the limits of presidential power so far that they will answer to no one, wreaking havoc on the delicate balance of our three branches of government that have allowed us to function as a democracy for nearly 2.5 centuries. This is the conservative plan to take over the country. Roll the intro.
Leila said, here we go. You are not wrong.
A lot of you like to assume that lawyers universally are millionaires. And while it's true that there are quite a few millionaire lawyers, many of us are just swimming in cesspools of debt that we had to take on to get these degrees in the first place. So it may come as a shock to learn that I.com/Miller to complete the quick and easy debt assessment. That's PDSDEBT.com.
We matched it. We matched it.
Launched in April 2022, Project 2025 is the brainchild of the far-right think tank, the Heritage Foundation, which deserves its own entire video for all the shady shit that they've been up to over the last 40-plus years. Project 2025 is systematically building the future of the conservative movement and promoting policy objectives that would have devastating consequences not only in our government, but for every person living in this country. That might sound hyperbolic, but I'm telling you, I cover a lot of batshit stories about conservatives, and this one has me spooked as hell, y'all. Their plan to further these goals has 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 is the policy, embodied in that 920-page manifesto they dropped last month. Pillar number 2 is the personnel database. Described as the conservative LinkedIn, the objective of the database is to collect resumes and information for thousands and thousands of conservatives from all walks of life and industries in order to source the best candidates to impact every branch and administrative body in Washington and throughout the states. To ensure that this database of personnel and the chosen warriors who will infiltrate the government at every level are properly prepared to represent the conservative goals set forth in the policy, Project 2025 relies on pillar number 3, training. Through an online institute, Project 2025 will prepare the foot soldiers of the conservative agenda to push their policies from day one. And because they've been preparing for years, they will be ready on day one of the new conservative presidency, thanks to pillar number 4. Pillar number 4 is the 180-day playbook, the step-by-step guide for the next conservative president to implement the policies laid out in the manifesto as quickly and systematically as possible in the first 180 days of their term. Through these 4 pillars, policy, personnel, training, and the playbook, Project 2025 aims to overhaul the entire U.S. government from the inside out, putting in place draconian policies and gutting important government agencies, all in the name of the Constitution and good, white, Christian family values. Let's take each pillar in turn, though we will be spending the bulk of our time on pillar 1, the policy, because we have 920 pages to cover, and it is the most fleshed out and horrific part of the plan so far. Project 2025 published their 920-page Mandate for Leadership policy manifesto as a free PDF on their website. I considered getting a physical copy to be able to wave around.
Sorry, I'm just pausing this real quick because, I said they were going to the plan was to dismantle the U.S. Education system, not the education system, the education treasury. Is that what it's called? I'm sorry. We've learned a lot today. My brain is turning into mush. Just going back quickly to this website, and just doing a compare and contrast, just a little compare and contrast. Again, not a 1-to-1, but a compare and contrast. You know what? Fuck that. I'm going to stop saying not a 1-to-1 because I think people on the left tend to be a little too, we want to be nice about this. Some of these people are fucking Nazis. Anyway, we demand an establishment of a new educational system which will place strong emphasis on physical and moral development of our young people, as well as on the training of their mental abilities, which instills in every young Aryan an all-important set of racial values. We believe Aryan youth represents the future of our race, and that in its fitness and ability lies our hopes for the future. Therefore, we believe that it is our duty of the state to see to the development of our young people in thorough and well-rounded manner, recognizing that in the long run, a healthy mind can only dwell in a healthy body, and that all the idea, this is education system, motherhood and family, the family farm, the community, citizenship. So some of you white people aren't even safe, because if you're not Aryan, you don't get citizenship either, girly. They don't believe in that for you. You have to be deserving of it and the responsibilities. And people that are conservative fundamentalists will be like, well, we're not like that at all. I mean, they had a black guy talking about Project 2025 at the beginning. Yeah, these people aren't stupid. Dog whistles are a thing, and they're able to make things sound more palatable. Woke is the new replacement term. Deep state, radical left. Gender ideology. These people know what they're doing. It goes on for so long. Non-Aryan? Sympathizer page. And look at that. For just a monthly donation of $10, you'll receive a 1-year subscription to their hard copy print publication, The White Worker. You will not be able to attend meetings, conference calls, or inter-party events, but in addition to financial support, there are many other ways you can assist our efforts. Oh my God.
For you just to see what it looks like printed, but that would require me to give $35 to the Heritage Foundation. So digital will do. That being said, I did not, unfortunately, read 920 pages of this thing, though I don't think it's a bad idea to do so. I did, however, read the first 50 pages of the PDF, including the list of organizers, authors, the introductory note, and the foreword, to get a good flavor of what's going on. And frankly, entire books could be and have been written on some of the batshit theories and doctrines they rely on just in the introduction alone. So we have plenty to dig into. Plus, the work of journalists who have pored over the manifesto at length will help us in our dizzying tour of the policies laid out in this manifesto. So let's get into it. The policy book is divided into 5 sections. 1, taking the reins of government. 2, the common defense. 3, the general welfare. 4, the economy, and 5, independent regulatory agencies. The note at the beginning of the paper, authored by Project 2025 director Paul Dans, a former Trump official, lays out what's at stake. The long march of cultural Marxism through our institutions has come to pass. The federal government is a behemoth, weaponized against American citizens and conservative values, with freedom and liberty under siege as never before. The task at hand to reverse this tide and restore our republic to its original moorings is too great for any one conservative policy shop to spearhead. It requires the collective action of our movement. With the quickening approach of January 2025, we have 2 years and 1 chance to get it right. The language throughout the policy manifesto and the Project 2025 website is militant, clearly meant to play into the fears and the patriotic duty that far-right constituents feel so strongly, the same militant language that led to the righteous anger of the January 6th insurrection. The report starts with, "We want you." The 2025 Presidential Transition Project is the conservative movement's unified effort to be ready for the next conservative administration to govern at 12 noon, January 20th. 2025. Welcome to the mission. By opening this book, you are now a part of it. Indeed, one set of eyes reading these pages will be those of the 47th President of the United States. And we hope every other reader will join in making the incoming administration a success. And I know this, it's not explicitly about Trump, but listen, we all know That man is not reading a 920-page manifesto in the unlikely chance that he does take the White House in January 2025.
He's
Get
not wrong.
real. But you get the vibe. This is positioned as a mandate, making readers, ostensibly the conservative foot soldiers who'll do their bidding, feel like they're in on a top secret mission, like this is some G.I. Joe mission shit, because the authors know that that is the absolute conservative wet dream and they're playing into it. The foreword includes a tidy summation of all the conservative wedge issues and talking points that have been flying around over the last few decades, all of which are addressed at length in the document. Look at America under the ruling and cultural elite today. Inflation is ravaging family budgets. Drug overdose deaths continue to
family.
escalate, and children suffer the toxic normalization
Your
of
children.
transgenderism, with drag
Gender.
queens and pornography invading their school libraries. Overseas, a totalitarian communist dictatorship in Beijing is engaged in a strategic, cultural, and economic Cold War against America's interests, values, and people, all while globalist elites in Washington awaken only slowly to that growing threat. Moreover, low-income communities are drowning in addiction and government dependence. Contemporary elites have even repurposed the worst ingredients of 1970s radical chic to build the totalitarian cult known today as the Great Awakening. Most alarming of all, the very moral foundations of our society are in peril. The foreword goes on to list the 4 broad fronts that the policy mandate will cover. Those are 1. Restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. 2. Dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. 3. Defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. 4. Secure our God-given individual rights to live freely, what our Constitution calls the blessings of liberty. And the manifesto goes on to lay out over 920 pages in 5 sections how they plan on furthering those 4 fronts. Chief among the policies promoted in the manifesto are a gutting of the administrative state and furtherance of the unitary executive theory, which we'll get into what those mean, plus anti-globalist and anti-environmentalist policies to protect from infiltration of Chinese culture into American life and continue the flourishing of American commerce,
y'all still
plus
think that
draconian
TikTok ban is not gonna
anti-LGBTQ+
happen?
policies and a centering of religion and the traditional family unit in every aspect of governance. Yeah, it's bleak. Let's get into it. By far the scariest aspect of the policy, and the one getting the most critical commentary, is the absolutist commitment to gutting the administrative state and concentrating power into the hands of the president. The administrative state is sometimes called the 4th branch of government, and there have been debates for centuries as to whether it's constitutional. You know, all those agencies like the EPA, Social Security Agency, HUD, FEMA, the Fed, the Department of Homeland Security. Yeah, all those governmental bodies that manage the administration of day-to-day operations of the country and promulgate regulations for everything from transportation to healthcare to food to clean water. That's the administrative state. It's not technically in the Constitution, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not constitutional. And listen, most law students take an admin law class, and I can tell you right now that shit is dry. I barely could keep my eyes open during that class. So I won't bore you with too much detail, but this issue does take on a new and much more important meaning when you learn what Project 2025 wants to do about it. So here's some Admin Law 101. Admin law governs the structure, decision processes, and behavior of administrative agencies. Those agencies are created by statute, executive order, or by state constitutions. Admin agencies are also referred to as commissions, boards, authorities, bureaus, offices, departments, divisions, etc. They're created by executive order, meaning when the president says so, or by Congress. Say Congress passes a law saying something is illegal. In that same law, they might say, we also create this new agency, and this agency is tasked with overseeing and implementing this law. For example, the Federal Food and Drug Administration was created by the Pure Food and Drugs Act of 1906 to oversee the implementation of that law.
Or
The
like
main
the
functions
FDA, I
of
guess,
administrative
or something
agencies
like
are
this.
to investigate, make rules, and adjudicate. That's why there's administrative law courts. They're not
Karen, can
state
you
or
put the
federal courts.
video
They're
in the
separate,
chat?
less formal courts where agencies can conduct hearings and enforce the regulations that they write and promote. Those admin law rulings can be appealed up to state and federal courts, but most of the day-to-day workings of administrative agencies happen within the agencies and their courts. That doesn't mean, however, that there is zero oversight of these agencies. Like I said, rulings in the admin law courts can be appealed to state and federal courts. Congress can pass laws like the Administrative Procedure Act to rein in administrative agencies, and Congress also still controls the purse strings. The first federal admin agency was the State Department, created in 1789 when Congress was still chock-a-block full of original framers of the Constitution, I might add, which does back up claims.
Okay, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all watch the rest of this. They've put it in the chat for y'all. Yeah, I'd say do some research, do some educating, some looking into. As vile and gross as it is to read things that are on stuff like the American Nazi Party's website, it's necessary. Like I said to y'all before, I've been learning about learned about this stuff, found out about this stuff since good old 2005, and was horrified and didn't 100% think that it was a thing, but am now seeing more and more that this post from way back when, it may have actually been a doorway into some other darker things. And if you think it's just conservative Christian rights that just want the Bible to be the law, it's much more nefarious than that. And I know the shit is hard, but it's even harder living in a police state. Like, I'm sorry, that's harder. And maybe there needs to be a true dismantling of people's rights for others to fight back. I don't know, but as this comment that I posted on the video here says, this is what we can see. This is a document that they're showing us. What are we not seeing? Not see. You see what I did there? What are we not seeing? Not see. You know, you see? Do you see? Tony, what are we doing? Did you kill the fly? You already killed it. So why'd you jump on there? Y'all. And if you don't know how to organize, nobody says that you have to take the lead. There are plenty of other people that are organizers that have been here that we just haven't been paying attention to. And you find those people and you go, hey, girl, how can I help? That's literally it. During the encampment, I wasn't out here leading shit. I just went, what do y'all need? What groups do y'all have? What do you need? Let me see what I can do. That's it. Everybody has a different role to play. Everybody has different parts to play based on their strengths. Another thing that I try to do is this type of stuff, telling y'all what these things are, trying to, I don't know, give y'all a fun, yes, way to explore these topics, but also a, hey, pay attention to what's happening kind of vibe. Yes, that was Tony Tone. Tony. That was Tony. I mean, essentially. Not everybody is supposed to be in the lead and have the revolutionary. No. Some of us just show up and go where we're needed. That's literally all you need to do at the least, right? So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Make sure you're registered to vote. I'm registered absentee. I need to call my office and make sure that they got my thing because they didn't send me an email. That wasn't my first Nazi exposure, but that was my first reading of this stuff online. That wasn't my first exposure, but that was me because I lived in Georgia. I've heard some wild shit. That was my first searching online and seeing, oh, people actually think this way, and being shocked and scared by that as a kid. And and always being scared of the year 2025 because of this initial paper from 2005 or whatever, or this initial blog post. I truly don't remember. Maybe it was the American Nazi Party site that I originally read it on. I don't know. Anyway, all I'm saying is these people have thought like this for a long time. And the minute more of us got rights and civil rights, the more of us, the more that happened, the more they started to go, now, wait a minute. How do we then use the law on our side? Because these Negroids have used the law to infiltrate everywhere. And like school systems are still pretty segregated and blah, blah, but that's a whole other topic for another day. Anyway, Godspeed, y'all. Look into these things. Know who your local representatives are at the bare minimum. And you're not going to agree on every policy that they do. I'm not necessarily out here like, yes, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. I joke around about John Ossoff being my husband, but like, I'm in all seriousness. I'm not like, yeah, you guys are doing everything right. No, but I'm voting for them over any other candidate. So, yeah. Anyway, I need to go. I need to finish editing. I was supposed to only be on here for an hour talking nonsense about Katy Perry, and then fucking Trump got shot at and now all this stuff. Y'all, I just want to perform my pole opera show, but I'm stressed. This world. Anyway, okay. Feature plets, water plets. Remember, you can always change your mind. I have a new video coming out potentially tomorrow if I can get this editing done. It's mostly done, but if you're on my Patreon, it'll probably be tonight. I'll figure out a way to upload it. I'm going to make myself some food and then get back to it. But yeah, new video tomorrow, and honestly, Godspeed. Peace, y'all.